So I was trying to think of a clever word pun on diving into hell or stopping by hell, or something like barbecue with the devil. I don't know, but I think it's all a little bit too tired to do that, because it's actually kind of a nice studio, this one, Arrowhead. I feel you've sort of put on a coat of a layer of paint, and it's really nice to stop by. So if you will, Helldivers, of course, was announced at Gamescom. What's been going on the last couple of months here in the studio?
Well, last couple of months we started production fully and going full steam ahead with all the content and implementation of new features and stuff. So the project is right on track. We're very happy with how it's going, and yeah, it's looking good.
Was there anything that you took from Gamescom that you got feedback, or that you heard, or that you realized when you were there, that sort of has altered the roadmap ahead, if you will?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me and one of our artists, we were standing right next to the people playing and just looking over their shoulder, seeing like what are they reacting to, and how are they playing the game? Are they doing something different than when we play? Because we're getting pretty good at the game, so it's plays sort of different for us than them. And there were definitely some things that we took in from that feedback.
Is that a risk, that you play the game so much that you tend to design it for experts rather than sort of, is that something that sort of comes with the territory?
It does, and I mean, it sort of fits us as well, because we want to make a hardcore game. I mean, and if you look at, for example, when we released Magica, we thought the game was pretty hard ourselves sometimes, but there are just hardcore gamers out there that will always beat you, no matter what you do. So I'm not afraid of making the game too hard, just make sure there's content for the other ones as well.
And that it's fun all the way, so to speak.
Yeah. Exactly.
Learning. Yeah,
you need to have a fun gaming experience, and I think that's a lot what Arrowhead is about, having a continuously fun experience.
So one of those areas that was sort of vague back at Gamescom, we got to try out the strategy games a little bit, and Johan was talking about maybe 30 or 40, or I don't know. What have you locked the design down more for that, and how will it? What's the sort of the overall vision for it now?
So the idea is that stratagems are like support items that you call in during combat, and they can range from many things. We haven't specified a certain number, but there's gonna be a lot of them. I mean, they are gonna be your loadout flavor, basically. Like when you wanna do a specific task, you call in a specific thing. Tools to fit the job, so to say.
So how do you imagine this? Is this like sort of like customize your own class thing, or how do you see them working together when you have 4 different players?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we want to weigh in heavy on the co-op element, as always, with Arrowhead games. But often we want to see them working definitely in tandem, and some of them will even have multiple roles or multiple things dropped in the same package. So one player can take a loadout equipment and deploy it, and others can support his equipment with what's dropped.
So the thing that's the beauty of this is that for me, playing 10 minutes of Helldivers, it was just mayhem, chaos, and I was trying to react to everything that was happening. But there seems like there's a conscious thing here. You want it to be tactical and strategic as well.
Yeah, definitely. We want you to form a line, to work more and be the group more than the sum of your parts. So you work together with the perfect tools you can find and defeat the threat that is present.
Of course, now we're talking about the actual sort of in-game when you're down on the planet, all the nits and grits of that. But another interesting thing that you're experiencing or you're experimenting with is the sort of the overall campaign, the global metagame, if you will. How has that progressed, and sort of have you locked down a little bit how that will look?
It's still a lot in the air, so to say, but our hope is to have a global metagame where everyone fights together for common goals, and building a community spirit that they help each other, and they're in this war together, fighting in the trenches.
So how do you imagine that? You imagine there being events or like campaigns or seasons or just an overall thing that will continue until the end of time?
Currently we're looking at a couple of options, but we're not really ready to give anything away there yet. I can promise it's gonna be good.
That's a great promise to make. I guess it's also one of those things that you want to see, you want to know a little bit how you can't lock these things down too early, because you want to know, you want to test it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, we're hoping to have some sort of beta testing for the game. It's like we're very early in production still, so it's not on the map quite yet, but we're hoping to test it like with mass numbers, so we can see that everything works before we release it to the public.
It's something that has come to console in more recent years, that sort of beta testing. It's of course everyone's used to it on the PC side, but on the console side it's available as well. Is that something you look to do on PS and PS Plus perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the downloadable world that we live in now, it's easier to deploy like testing software for the common public to test. And PS Plus, like that's a great example of where we could get our beta testers.
So the game was announced on 3 platforms. How's it to work on 3 platforms? Are you what's the backbone of that? How is it? Is it a challenge for you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I think we're the first to do it on all 3 platforms, but we get great support from our engine developers, BitSquid, and it's really nice to work with their flexible engine, as they call it, that can handle all 3 platforms. And yeah, it's a challenge, but we like it.
So how's that going to work? Because I mean, we've seen some cross-play between PS Vita and PS3, for instance, things like that. Are you as ambitious as it's? Do you want to have cross-play across all, or will you lock it down to this separate systems and or perhaps have a common metagame, or how do you look at it?
The idea is to have seamless crossplay. Like if I'm playing on my Vita and I see a friend playing on his PS4, I can just join his game or he can join mine. Or if I'm playing at my PS3 at home and a friend comes over, he can just drop into my game from the couch, and then we can play with both my PS4 friend and the Vita player.
So basically, any way you want to play it, you will be able to play it. That's the goal, at least.
Yes, that's the goal. As easy as possible to play co-op with your friends.
Wow, that is even more ambitious than just having it come out on 3 platforms.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll see if we pull it off, but hopefully that's the vision of it, at least.
Is this something that also like Sony is supporting? Like they want this to be what games can do on their platforms. Is this something they really want to push, or how do you feel the support from that side?
Yeah, I think they're very, very happy with trying this out, and like I've seen publicly like things that they are doing with Vita, PS4 Play, and I mean everyone is pretty much doing the same now. But I think Sony is pushing really hard to make it possible to play all games on all their platforms.
Interesting stuff and very cool. So we've touched on you're just in full production. It's got a tentative 2014 date. How do you feel about where you're at right now and where you're headed?
It feels good. I mean, there's pressure, but there's always pressure in the game industry, and there's not too much overtime currently. We're pretty satisfied with where we're going, and Sony are great to work with, so we're not worried about the project at all.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.